Time for your questions, honest answers. And Pat, this first one comes from a viewer who says, if we're married or in a relationship down on earth, will we still be in that same relationship when we get to heaven as long as the couple are both believers? What do you think?
Well, Jesus was talking about that. He said, look, when you're in heaven, you neither marry or give in marriage, but you're like the angels. Well, the angels are asexual. They don't reproduce because they live forever. So there's no need for them to have babies and no need for them to have husbands and wives. So I think in heaven, you're not going to have that relationship. You won't have a body. You'll be a spiritual being. And that's what Jesus said. You'll be like the angels. You neither marry or give in marriage. So I just quote him. All right.
That'll do.
All
Okay.
right.
This is Kay, who says, are card games in any way demonic? What about gambling card games?
Well, I think the thing about gambling, look, you're looking at somebody who was up to his eyeballs in gambling in the old days. The thing that's wrong with gambling is that you are tempting God every time, you know, you're trying to pull to an inside straight, or you're trying to get a flush, or you're trying to get a full house, and you just need one more card to make it, and you push all that money across the table, and you're asking God, in a sense, you're tempting him to do something, and that's why gambling is sin. As far as throwing a quarter into a slot machine on the way out the door, I mean, like, who cares? I mean, it's no big deal, and no playing cards are not demonic, and you know, don't invest it with any more than you have to. Just realize why there's something wrong about it, and that's the only thing that's wrong with it. All right.
Okay, this is Julie, who says, John 3:16 says, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. What does the word believe mean in the Bible with respect to salvation?
Well, believe there in the Bible means the same thing it does everywhere else. You know, belief is committal. You are committing yourself to somebody. They tell the story about the man who was going across Niagara Falls on a tightrope, and he was in a barrel. And he said to the audience, do you believe that I can go across on this tightrope in a barrel over Niagara Falls? And a number of people said, yes, we think so. And he looked at him, he says, I believe it. He said, okay, well, you come get in the barrel. And I mean, are you willing to get in the barrel? I think that's what it amounts to. I mean, is your belief something that which you would take positive action about it? Would you commit your life? Would you commit your total being to the Lord? And that's what whoever believes in him, that's what it means. All right.
Yeah, this is a viewer who says, is it a sin to watch movies, music, and TV shows that use God's name or Jesus' name in vain?
You know, in Hollywood, it's gotten so that they use Jesus as just as much as I would say good morning. I mean, it's just, you know, really, it's terrible. They don't talk about Muhammad. You don't hear them say,
Not twice.
Yeah, Holy Moses or something. But it's always Jesus Christ. Why? And they don't realize that this is an affront to an evangelical. You know, what's sin, and is it wrong to do that? I think if your spirit is grieved when you hear this stuff, then turn it off and don't watch it. Just that simple. All right.
This is a viewer who says, the majority of Christians I spoke to said they've never heard an audible voice from God, but it was more of a thought or idea that came through their minds. How do we know when it's God speaking and not just something we think up ourselves? I don't think I've ever heard God speak, but don't know if I mistook it as my personal thoughts. My thoughts can be random, so it's ordinary for an idea to come out of the blue.
Sometimes God will speak so clearly that you know it's his voice speaking, like, do this. He spoke to me about something like a particular individual. He said, fire him. I mean, he did, just like
that. Clearly.
That clearly. But usually it's a still small voice. It's an impression inside. What does the Bible say? Those who by reason of use have their senses exercised that they can discern good from evil. And I think that's what it is. It's practicing the presence of God. And that's it.